I mean, I'm excited to be here with Barbara Corcoran, the
Nice to be here.
real estate queen of New York and the infamous shark of Shark Tank.
Thank you.
I think people know me less. I'm the professor of entrepreneurship at NYU.
Good professor. No boot.
Thank you. And I think some of the context here, we were going to connect, bring you onto campus. You were curious about coming back to NYU to teach a class.
Yes.
Timing didn't work, but I'm hopeful that we can still get you back.
We'll see.
But in the meantime, you were gracious enough to offer to bring some of these insights to our undergrads, our grads, execs, our alumni community. So that's what we're here to do.
Okay, great.
And as we were just talking about a moment ago, I think that what I'm looking at in the classroom is students come real excited about entrepreneurship, but at the same time a little bit kind of timid about it because they see these superheroes of entrepreneurship in Silicon Valley, and it feels like something out of reach, and they feel like I'm an imposter, like I can't ever pursue something like this. I know you get this question a lot.
All the time.
So how do you answer that question?
I think most people focus on that superstar instead of looking at the local guy who owns the pizzeria. He's an entrepreneur too. Most entrepreneurs, 90% of them are tiny businesses with very happy owners or frustrated owners. So you kind of have to imagine the whole field, not just the big guys on top.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Because
certainly...
that will intimidate you or freeze you not to do something.
And that's the
reach it
biggest
too
thing is
hard.
you get stopped in your tracks, right? You just don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in terms of, the other thing that I've heard you talk about, right, is like rejection. People face rejection. They ask for things. They try to get investors. They try to make sales. You famously have talked about some of your rejections. How do people know when to move forward with a rejection or when to stop, right? Maybe this is a sign that this idea is not good.
You have to hit the floor running and take a lot of rejection for a long time before you should decide to stop. Rejection's a part of the game. I mean, if you don't like rejection, what are you doing as an entrepreneur? You get like 10 no's for every single yes you ever get. I think the difference that you should evaluate as a potential entrepreneur is how good are you at rejections? How quickly can you get back up? How much does it bother you? How personal do you take it? What are you going to come up with differently to just stand back up and shout about something else? That really is the essence of the entrepreneur, the person who could get back up really fast. I've really concluded that's the number one trait an entrepreneur has. If they don't get up fast and if they take it personally and they lay low for too long, forget it. They don't belong in their own business.
Wow. Yeah, so you were saying you have to see how well you get back up. And have you had some stories or examples where you thought like this person's really good at rejection or bad? Is there a way to practice?
The only way to practice rejection is to keep trying new ideas, new pitches, new sales tactics, new add-ons, and letting people laugh at you or tell you it's no good or having people not buy from you. You learn from those experiences very quickly, but the only way to practice rejection is to make sure you get a lot of rejection.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So on that point, one of the things that I noticed, right, I've been seeing you've done a lot of interviews, you've written several books. And one of the things that really stands out to me about your story and your particular style of entrepreneurship, and I'm not sure.
Tell me, please, I don't know.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I don't even know if you've identified it in this way, but even your first book, it's like use what you have.
Yes.
And so, I teach in a university setting, right? We want to bring science and the best practices that are there. And there's not a lot of comfort with this idea of just using what you have.
Yeah.
But that said, there is one entrepreneurship philosophy. It's called effectuation.
Yeah. What is that?
And so the idea is leveraging your bird in hand. So it's like who you are, who you know, and what you know. And the way that opens things up is you start looking at your means and then imagining various ends that you could pursue.
Because of what you have in your hand.
Exactly.
Makes
so now
sense.
you realize, so for me, one of my most instrumental jobs, and I love telling my students, is that I worked at a Subway sandwich shop, before the $5 footlongs, but it was like a real good shop. And I loved it because I got to engage with customers. I got to really just interact with people all the time. And it turns out that skill set is something I've used all my life.
Of course.
And so that's my bird in hand, right? And so I'm not going to be good behind the desk of, filing papers or something.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's very much a part of your story. It
Yeah.
sounds like in every situation you think, well, what do I have and how could I use it?
Yes.
What do you say when people, maybe you work with them, maybe as partners on Shark Tank or others that are more planners? Like, how do you approach this distinction between, well, let's have a plan. Let's make sure we know exactly what we're trying to do, as opposed to, leveraging what we
That
have.
can be just as helpful, you know. It's very often not the guy leading the charge because a planner tends not to be at the head of the firm. Someone who's inspirational, charismatic, someone knows how to sell naturally, can keep landing on his feet, someone who inspires the people around him to follow him up the mountain. That's usually the person that heads a firm. But the minute you have more than 5 or 6 people, you need a planner. You need a planner who's going to make sure everything's followed up on. You have the money in the bank on time. You don't overextend. You need someone who's going to question, does this make logical sense? So both have to come together. I really think you need both within a business.
Okay, that's good. But so, yeah, the way you described it there is that maybe it's two different roles.
It always is.
Okay.
It's rare that you find both in one person
Okay.
equally well, anyway.
Okay.
I think what you were talking about was being yourself.
Yeah.
You talked about a bird or something.
Bird in hand, like
Bird
it's
in hand.
leveraging your
It's
bird.
like whatever yourself is, whatever your asset is, how can I build on it? That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what you should build on because you have to be authentic. People know the difference. If you're not, and besides, if you're not yourself, everything else is taken. So you might as well be left over with yourself, right? But people respect authenticity and see through you when it's not authentic. They sense that it's not quite right, and then you're not selling well.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, I was, again, reading up on you.
Mhm.
People love you. I think you're one of the
They should.
favorite sharks on Shark Tank.
That's what I'm told, but I don't get paid any more than the other sharks.
You got to show them the fine print. Take a
Yes,
look at these Reddit polls. Everybody's on my
I
side.
believe they're auditing all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
they tell me that. Yeah.
That's great. Well, so staying with this theme of effectuation, because again,
Is that something you made up? Effectuation?
I was just going to tell you who made it up. It's a professor at UVA, Darden, the Darden School, and her name is Sarah Saraswati. And so what she did was she did some research on what they called expert entrepreneurs, people that were serial entrepreneurs, and looked at how they made decisions, how they reacted, how they acted. And,
But what does that have to do with the word effectuation? I'm not quite sure I get that.
it's a terrible name.
It's a stupid word.
It's a terrible name.
Go tell her that.
Yeah, we'll work on rebranding that right now in this moment. But the idea is big, right? The idea is big, which is leveraging what you have to quote imagine new ends. And another big part of the idea is, we have this myth in entrepreneurship that you're going to take the plunge. You're going to dive in, blindfolded and take all this risk as you approach entrepreneurship. And she makes this argument that, that people actually realizing they can't afford not to take action. It's not that they're weighing, the opportunity cost of not taking action higher. It's like, this is the thing I want to do. And if I don't do it, I'm not living the life I want to live.
Sure.
What do you think about that in terms of the plunge versus, making an
Well,
early
I think
decision?
there's stupid plunges and there's calculated plunges.
Okay.
I mean, holding your breath and taking the first plunge is the hardest part because then you're committed. You both feet are in the deal, That has to happen because you don't want to go through life with regrets. And you don't want to wonder if you could have been a big star, if you had only started the business 8 years ago. My God, where could I be now? That's a very sad person. The people who shy away from opportunity, always a sad person. But I also think in taking the plunge, you have to ask, do you have the skill set needed to really succeed at what you're doing? And most people don't question it. I have 2 entrepreneurs I'm very fond of that own Cousins Maine Lobster. They were smart enough before they took the plunge. They had psychological tests to see how they were going to work together and see what each other's strengths were. They were smart enough to ask. And they delegated the responsibilities based on those strengths. They had an enormous head start. Right from the get-go, they shot out of the gate, but they gave it advanced thought. Now, if they had just gone right out and done the wrong stuff, both of them doing the same thing, that business would not be nearly as successful as this.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
I think you need both.
Yeah, I've had the
plunge.
pleasure of having eaten at their store in Asbury Park. I go there frequently.
How much did you pay for a roll?
I don't know if it's like $15.
Yeah, I was just wondering what the price is.
Yeah,
I get it for free.
well, that's a deal, right? That's
Yeah,
a
that's a
deal. Yeah, but it's a great addition to Asbury Park. Yeah. Well, so I think on the same theme of thinking about where entrepreneurship fits and us working on rebranding some of the terms, one of the questions that people often debate, and this is in the academic circles, is like, what is entrepreneurship? Is it an art? Is it a science? Is it about intuition? Is it about taking action? I have my take on it. I'm curious about yours.
I think it's a talent, a God-given talent. It's hard to develop if you don't have it. I think it's a God-given talent, and I think it's an effort. If you have the talent, you put in the effort, you have a successful business. If you're lacking either of those pieces, the business isn't going to really go anywhere. No, I think entrepreneurship is a bundle of traits that you have to have inside you. You might develop them a little better, but you can't create them. One of them is extremely competitive. I don't have a single entrepreneur who's not extremely competitive. And that's a great advantage when they're competitive. They think everybody's after them, they're going to take their business, almost like a paranoia. They get going when people are close to them, They don't like it very much at all.
Yeah.
I also think that it comes with a whole bunch of other traits you really need to do. You have to be a workaholic. You can't have kids and have a business and be a good parent and a good business owner. I just don't think they come together. You work 24/7 and dedicate yourself. And your family has to move to the side, or your business has to move to the side. But it's not enough room for both people, really, in the mix at all. Fortunately, I had my family very late, so after I sold my business, I was fortunate. I could have never built a business with children as a woman. Without any doubt in my mind, I could have never done it. You have to surround yourself with the right people. A lot of people don't have any talent for hiring people. Yeah. They hire the wrong people. They trust the wrong people. They give the wrong objectives to the people they hire. Those are all important calls. Basically, it's great business judgment, and not business judgment like you're a consultant and you're advising somebody, but business judgment like fast on your feet. How do you decide quickly what the best course of action is? And then when it's not the best course of action, you slam into a wall, how do you say, okay, no problem, go backwards and take another 5 steps forward and think of another crash you could do into the wall? It goes again and again. It's so resting on the fact, are you good at getting back up? All bets are off if you're not good at getting back up. And I really have my own philosophy that all the very successful people I ever met in life, it's not that they're any brighter or they even try harder than someone else who's trying hard. I believe they're just better at getting back up. They take less time feeling sorry for themselves than the typical person who goes back and licks their wounds for a few days while your competitors are stealing your market share.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot to process. I think.
Yeah,
right.
I said too much. But...
No, but all of that is really underscores your experience, having worked with so many entrepreneurs, been an entrepreneur, talking about family and the balance. I think that's going to really resonate with a lot of people. I want to shift gears here and have a little fun. I have some games here for us to play, but before we do that, one last question, and it's about creativity. There's no question that you're very creative. We've all seen.
That's my king thing.
Oh, that's your ace.
Good at it.
Yeah. Ace in the sleeve. Well, so I'm curious.
That's my pigeon or whatever you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Funny word.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So is there a place that you get your inspiration from creativity in terms of, you've talked about how your mom and encourage your creativity.
Yes.
But I'm curious, like, do you get inspiration from art, any music, or any of that?
You don't have to have a mom that believes in your creativity. That was just an extra I happened to get along the way that spun me in a certain direction. But creativity, anyone could get the create ideas if you steal them. A lot of people think creativity is coming up with an original idea. I just don't believe so. I don't think I ever had a creative idea in my life, honestly, in business. I just saw what other businesses were doing that had nothing to do with real estate, saw something little that I said, I could do that. I could use that here. You borrow all these ideas and you make them for yourself. That's really where all the ideas come from. I got more ideas for creative ideas out of my receptionists at my various offices who said, why can't we have our dogs and children in the pictures like this catalog that I just got? We could, and then we got a great ad campaign. It was phenomenal. All these ideas came from someone else that I just, borrowed, maybe, stole. They were all for free.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a famous book called Steal Like an Artist. And the whole idea is to borrow things from one category, bring it into another. In class, we call it analogous inspiration. Let's get inspiration from this field and bring it into the other.
Yeah. No, the one thing you won't do is ever have a creative idea at your desk. I always have my creative ideas when I'm on vacation having fun. You need to refresh that engine somehow and come back with a whole bunch of stuff you want to try.
That's great. Awesome. All right, so I have a couple games here I brought with me.
You're teasing me with these games. Let's have it.
Let's do it. So, one of the things one of the things that we often do at NYU, in my classes in particular, students are coming up with lots of cool venture ideas.
You assign that they come in with an idea? Yes.
Yeah. There's a couple different versions of that assignment. Some are leverage your background and come up with an idea. Some are look at the marketplace and come up with an idea, right? Because we want to practice these different skills, and not just out of nowhere. But I brought with me some of the most imaginative and playful ones.
I can't wait. I
So
haven't heard ideas.
yeah, so we want to do in or out, right? A little quick in and out with.
And why in and out?
Know what I mean? Like, are you in? Do you think this idea's got legs or not?
And do you say why?
Let's do
I
a
would
why.
think it's only meaningful if you say why.
Let's do a why. So the first idea is Hottie's Hot Doggery, right? And it's an idea from a student named Vivian. So like bringing back the kind of retro 80s vibe in a diner. And we have Shake Shack, but we need something with hot dogs. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea because it's a good title, but I think it's a hard idea to execute and a hard idea to make money on. You got rent to negotiate, which is difficult. You have to have kitchens. You have to have experience in running them.
Yeah.
You have to keep people from stealing from you. There's a lot of downsides to the idea, but it's a good start.
All right, next one, defense clip. So this is a discrete pepper spray holder. And I know this student's actually already made this. She's been prototyping it, Gracie. And so there's you put your pepper spray in the claw clip that women are often wearing in their
What is she
hair.
going to sell it for?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's like a retail price, $5, $10. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think there's a need for it. Women are very much more aware of this kind of thing and have a need for it. And if it looks fashionable and this is the product?
This is a prototype, right? I'm sure
Yeah.
she's going to doll it up later.
I don't like the name, but I like the product. But I think she's going to have a hard time making money on this thing. You have to sell a lot of clips to make the money.
All right.
She only sells the clips?
Yes. Well, maybe she
out.
can add in.
I'm out because I don't think you can make enough money.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll give her that feedback. Second spin yarn. Okay, so Meredith is a big knitter, and she's hates that she has all these leftover scraps. She wants to put them back in a ball and upcycle these yarn.
For herself?
As a kind of upcycling shop. I think this is more of a small business idea.
She should take a bundle of balls, go out into the street, and ask anybody if they'll dare buy them. Nobody will buy that stuff. I'm out.
Okay. No multicolor hats here. Okay, this one's a wild one. It's called Dreamscape. So Priyansh has this idea, and apparently there's some tech behind it, that increasingly we're getting close to being able to capture our dreams
Wow, that'd be fun.
and be able to watch them,
Why
later
not
on.
sexy?
Yeah.
Oh, you watch your dream that you dream?
Yeah, so the next day, right? You could be like, oh, let me
Really?
see what I dreamt.
Yeah. Well, if he has a phenomenal tech background and could show me really how it would work, maybe.
All right,
I'm
maybe.
doubtful.
All right. Edgardo's got this idea. It's called Blabber, right? So everybody on TikTok is sharing their betting advice. And, he thinks we need a platform just for it, right? And it's people get to blab about what they think that they want to invest in, bet on the Yankees. And he wants to organize it in a new way.
Well, that one I'm definitely out on. He's got to get people to find Blabber, and that's where all the cost is.
All
There's
right.
too much out there.
Okay, we got two more. Preg Go. All right, so this is a car service for pregnant women. Jacob was inspired by some pregnant person in his family. He thinks, okay, Uber, it's not doing enough. Pregnant women have more needs, certain like getting to doctor's office, doctor's visits. Maybe they have young children that need to come along. And he thinks there needs to be a Prego option.
I'm out. Call Uber would be my advice.
All right, call an Uber.
Take that out behind the barn, as Kevin says.
All right, we got one last one. It's called Band Together. So the idea is, look, we all go to the concerts and we know how painful it is to come back home at the end of the concert. So it's a carpool service that plans around getting to and from the concert. It's got a clever name, Band Together.
No good.
No
Could
good.
share the ride.
All right.
Uber as well.
All
It's
right.
already been invented.
All right. Well, that was fun. So you got a sense of...
I should have been more positive. I don't like a lot of ideas. The most important thing is they're only ideas.
Exactly.
And that's not where the entrepreneur wins or loses. That's just the start, any of these ideas. What counts is how can they bring it to the finish line.
Yeah,
That's really all that counts.
100%. No,
I
I
think
agree.
the idea is everything. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
on-
what's fun for me is, as a professor, I get to see some of the same ideas repeat.
Have you invested in any?
I have invested in a few.
Have you lost your money?
The
Truth?
Not yet.
You will. You will. It's hard to make money in small businesses, really is as a partner.
Not yet. But soon. I'm sure soon.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
So
take your money. You want to give me some money to invest?
okay. All right. What are we investing in?
Shark Tank.
Okay. All right. Done. Let's talk terms. All right. I have a couple more games here.
Oh, you're games, man.
All right. So you are the queen of real estate in New York. Let's say we wave a magic wand and you could buy any NYU iconic property.
Expensive. Good
Uh,
neighborhood.
Yeah. So you get a good value. So you get a good price. So just think of it. You imagine you get a good price. Would you go for the Stern School of Business on West 4th Street, the Paulson Building, a brand new building at 181 Mercer Street, the Maine Building? It's also famously the the T-shirt factory, the Triangle T-shirt factory, and Bope's Library at the south end of the park. You always see in Sesame Street like Bope's Library sneaking
Yes,
out
you
in the
do.
background. Which one of these NYU iconic properties?
Definitely Bope's Library. Nobody's going to the library anymore. So eventually it will be sold. And when it's sold, it has a big footprint. You could go 30 stories top.
Yeah.
You could go 30 stories maybe high on that footprint. This is the best deal. Long term, it's a terrific deal. Short term, it's a good deal. Libraries always pay the rent.
All right. You heard it here. Libraries pay the rent. No, I think that's a great idea. And the executive offices of NYU are on the top floor of Bope's Library. So
Oh,
they
they'll
are.
never sell.
Yeah.
I'll change my mind. I'll take Brown Building because it would make a great condominium conversion.
It does also overlook the park, so it's also a nice. view.
Nice.
All right. So,
Yeah, administrators don't like to move here, right?
all right. Okay. All right. Well, we were just playing make believe.
Okay.
While we're on that topic, right? So you come to NYU. We've looked at the property. You also need to get a roommate. So I'm curious, of the NYU celebrities, and we have tons of NYU celebrities, which NYU celeb would you room with? We have Lady Gaga, Adam Sandler, Mahershala Ali, and Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, definitely Adam Sandler. He'd keep me laughing like hell all the time. He'd have to get rid of the beard, but I really like him.
Yeah, the beard. I'm not really into the
Yeah.
beard either.
Doesn't seem to fit his personality. You get the feeling he's hiding something. But I take him anyway, with the beard or without.
All right, Adam Sandler. Okay. So, just to close, I want to get a couple opinions on some of the notable advice that students are hearing on entrepreneurship. So this is the Tech Bro advice. We're going to start with Tech Bro advice. So someone said, if your product requires advertising or salespeople to sell it, it's not good enough. And some other person said, being an entrepreneur is like eating glass and staring into the abyss of death. Any of those stand out to you?
Definitely not the case. On the first one, if your product requires advertising or salespeople to sell it, every product does. You have to figure that out. It's so important. It's a big cost. You got to figure it out. How do you sell something if you don't have somebody showing it off? And the other guy's in a depression. He just needs pills.
Yeah. All right.
Who is that person?
Should I reveal the names?
Yeah, let's hear.
All right. Well, we had Peter Thiel and Elon Musk.
Oh, God, of course. Well, listen, they're just showing off. They're trying to sound fancy. You have a good one there?
Yeah. Huh?
Do you have any good quotes?
Yeah, I got some good
Real
ones.
quotes? That makes
So
sense.
I got some more here. So here's two more from the Tech Bro list. Move fast and break things. And the keys to success are patience, persistence, and obsession.
The last makes very good sense because it is true. But it's cool to say move fast and break things and reinvent and everything. You waste a lot of money that way.
Yeah. Well, so that's Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos.
Oh, just a smart guy.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to get out of the Tech Bro advice and just more general advice. So don't waste time being indecisive. Make a decision and make it work. Or ask for what you want. If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
The second's a better one. It's really, I have to get good at asking.
Yeah. So that's Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
What's not
And the other one was Sarah Blake.
Yeah, she's a nice lady, but she doesn't have a good quote.
Yeah.
Sounds too
One-
fancy.
Yeah. Too
She
fancy.
gave it too much thought.
All right.
I don't believe it.
Last set of quotes. The best ideas start as jokes and make your thinking as funny as possible. So that's their.
It's a new one.
And the other one is be so good they can't ignore you.
What did Groucho Marx write that one? Come on, that's terrible. Start as a joke, forget it. That's funny though. Be so good they can't ignore
Well,
you.
one of them is a comedian, I'll tell you that.
Oh, okay. Well, it better be that one. I don't know who it is, but yeah, that's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. But be so good they can't ignore you. That's worthy.
Yeah. So that's Steve Martin, actually. The comedian was the other
You're
one.
kidding.
Yes.
David Ogilvy? Oh, David's being fancy. Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
I can't believe that's.
Yeah, he started with humor. All right. One thing I usually ask everyone at the end of my interviews is, what advice do you give to someone that's sitting there on the fence? And I think you've already given us the advice for an entrepreneur. So I'm going to ask something else.
Okay.
I think that like in this environment, sometimes it feels like very contentious sometimes in these days. And so I've been thinking about kindness a lot, and I know that that's something that I've
People are
heard you
desperate for it.
talk about. What are your thoughts on kindness in terms of maybe acts of kindness that you've seen or ways that you think that we can bring more kindness into the world?
You're talking about in general?
Yeah, like
Do something immediately today. Be lovely to some individual. Hold a door. I gave a woman $20 last night. She told me she was going to get herself hit by a cab if I didn't give her the 20. I said, "That's a good pitch. Take it twice." That was one of the best pitches I heard in a long time. But no, anything you could do that just adds a sweet note. People remember, compliment people. I do it all the time. Have beautiful eyes. People don't look at me with suspicion. They say thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you can do to just make it easier for people.
Yeah.
It reflects back on you, and it feels so good.
Yeah. I mean, you benefit from it just as much as the person
Definitely.
you're giving to, right?
Maybe it's more so, I think.
Yeah. Well,
That's not going to go over in business.
I think, if I read your story right, I think that you're more than just your business, right? You've focused on,
I'm kind, but if I got rid of the kindness trait in my business, I would probably be pretty successful anyway. As long as you have good business acumen and making a judgment calls and you have the push that it takes to develop a business. I think you could do it without kindness if you just treat people with respect. But I use kindness and fun to make people love me. And you get so much more when you do it that way.
yeah, that makes sense. So you can be just fair. Let's start with fair.
It's good enough,
Yeah, that's good enough for business.
but it's not exceptional.
But if we want to go and make it our ace in our
If
sleeve,
you want to own your people, really be good to them.
yeah, okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm hoping that we can. Let me ask: was there any other advice that you have for students that you were about to come down to NYU and teach a class again?
Since I was there, I developed a almost like an entrepreneurial IQ test. I haven't named it yet.
Okay.
We're gonna put it
Don't call
online.
it effectuation.
No, you don't have to worry about that. That's not a good word. Yeah. But I'm going to put that on my website. And if you take that test, because we've tested it already so many times, it's accurate. Should you be an entrepreneur or not?
Okay.
It has 10 traits you need as an entrepreneur that are indispensable. Take it and you know.
Okay.
Yeah, you better take it first.
I'll
Do you think you're an entrepreneur?
I do.
Good. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have you take the test first.
Okay. All right. You give me my results.
You'll have
privately.
to do it in front of me on camera.
Do you have it now?
No, not really. You're probably like 4 days early.
Okay. All right. We'll I can use that with my students, and we can use
Hey,
that
you
as a
can
way.
use it with your students.
Yeah.
A great idea. But don't come complaining to me when 90% of your class should be entrepreneurs.
Well, I think a big part of my class is actually helping them see whether entrepreneurship as a founder is part of their journey, or whether they just need a bit more be entrepreneurial in
Generally, the
management
latter.
role. They could be an accountant, but be a
Are
little
they in
more
graduate level or undergraduate?
I teach mostly undergraduates.
Yeah.
But we have graduates, we have executives, and they're all looking for a taste of entrepreneurship. And I think everybody needs it, but they need a different thing, right? And so part of my job is to suss out, what is it that they need?
Yeah, definitely. You're
Right.
better off doing it on the undergraduate level, introducing it. I think I have a belief myself. I don't know if it's accurate, but whenever I've lectured to graduate classes,
Yeah.
I generally don't believe most of the people in the class should be entrepreneurs. By the way they ask the questions, I could tell right away they're not my people. They're not going to be entrepreneurs. On the undergraduate level, you have a better percentage of maybe, hey, I never thought I'd be good at that. I'm no good at math. Has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You could push people in that direction. But graduate level is a little tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the MBA level, they're paying a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so now
They have to be right.
they've almost kind of set up the conditions.
But you
to
know what
make
they're
it
also
fun.
doing is stalling.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
stalling on learning instead of doing. I object to that. I think you got to get out there and play in the traffic all the time to find out where you're good at.
Play in the traffic. Get out there and
Yeah.
take
And
action.
that's one of the disadvantages rich kids have. They can usually afford the tuition to continue at education while somebody else has already built a business for 4 years. So it makes a difference.
Yeah, that's something we see with the undergrads. They're just wide open. They're open to seeing where things are going to go.
'Cause they haven't defined themselves yet.
And when you were thinking about your class, it felt like a bit more, you know,
That's what I wanted.
what,
direct
what do I want to
myself
do with
to.
my life kind
Yeah.
of class.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's most helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't ask for a graduate class, did I?
No, and you even asked for it to be outside of the business school.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So we'll work on
People in business school generally don't learn how to do business, but they get good jobs at corporate America.
that. Yeah. No, we have a good problem there. Well, I want to be conscious of your time. I really appreciate this.
Really nice having you here.
This was so much fun, and I would still like to work on this class. So, and give you some other options. I think I negotiated some other ways of approaching it.
Really.
Because they have this fixed container. All classes need to be.
Yeah, but you're the kind of guy who changed the container. You made that clear. You could change the container.
Yeah. So I'm working on another container to offer you. And
Happy to hear about it.
And I forgot about our gifts.
Oh, this is my best part. Come on, let's hand it
God,
over.
guys, you forgot. So I got a bunch of gifts.
This candy or cash, one of the other.
Aragon was actually an alum of our school.
You're kidding? Yeah. We got to go back to NYU. And
So
get
that's
stuff.
an NYU branded.
Maybe I could wear it today. Let's see. I don't have the scarf on.
It's a little NYU vibe. So you got.
Oh, that's a pretty color for me. These are my colors. I could wear this like coat today with the navy blue, right?
Yeah.
Good timing.
Oh, great. Wait, hold on. I got
you very
one more
much.
set of things. Oh, I really messed that up.
You didn't mess
This
this
is
up at all.
supposed
This
to
is
be-
great. Oh, this is very nice.
This-
You keep that. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
This is
How
beautiful.
about casual on the couch?
Very, very nice. Beautiful.
All right. Well, we know your style.
$490 you paid for this?
Oh, I didn't even know the price tags on there. Terrible.
Sure, you left it on purpose.
Huh?
You left it on purpose.
No, I got this from our development people, so
My
that's a gift to you.
gosh. Well, guess what? I'm going to return it today and get my money back.